All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched NBA facts. I got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who subscribes to my channel or watches my videos. I appreciate it very much. Those of you who have been watching my channel lately know that I've been putting a ranking together and finally have some of that here. It took a long time because of what went into it. Most of it is unbiased. I used a system, and I only had a few things where I had a say-so in it, like an opinion-based. And even that, though, was not really much leeway in doing it. Some of the rankings are not what I personally used to think or whatever, but I never really put together a list like this before. But I used 21 criterias. They are championships, but unlike the media, the big media, or even some people on YouTube, I don't just do ring count. It's how many championships did you win when you had a solid opportunity to win one. And that would mean one of two things. Either you were the number one seed, so you had home court throughout. That's obviously, a good opportunity. Or you're in the finals. If you're one of those two things, that's an opportunity. Now, if you're, a superstar, you're an all-time great, and you're a number one seed, you should advance. You should win your conference. That's how it should go. Doesn't always happen, doesn't happen a lot, but that's the way it should go. The other thing is the playoff competition. That was definitely something that, that's a big one. The accolades that are voted on, like MVP, all NBAs, all defenses, those things are voted on. Number 4 is league leaders. How many times you led the league in a certain category, that mattered. Number 5, the strength of your teammates. That one I spent a lot of time on to try to decipher, how good your teammates are, and, with you, without you, that kind of thing. It was a tough one. Number 6, coming up big in tough games and series. Those critical moments, you came up big. That one's a little opinion-based there, but again, not much leeway. Number 7, not being upset. If you had a home court advantage, you need to win if you're an all-time great. I know people are going to say, oh, well, this and that, but no, you need to win if you have home court advantage. Number 8, not blowing leads. If you have, leads in a series, you need to win that series if you're an all-time great. Number 9, longevity. We all know what that means. The longer the career at staying at a pretty high level, the better. Number 10, durability. If you're on the court, you mean more to your team. If you're off the court, you're not. Number 11, stats. Just how your stats were in general. Just plain and simple, stats. That's going to be a criteria there, how well you did versus your peers. Number 12, your peak. I did 5-year and 10-year peak. 13, appear to make players play better. You had a direct effect. One person that comes to mind is Magic Johnson. He made his teammates better. Number 14, staying with one team unless you were traded, that you didn't force the trade. But if you did force the trade, or you went to go join stars, that ups your standard. Now, you need to win more. You need to bring more accolades because you are, circumventing the process. You're fast forwarding the grind. 15, being great on both ends. That one held pretty good amount of weight. Number 16, your regular season success. Based on, the teammates again. But how good did you do based on how good of a team you had? 17, your conference competition. Number 18, your division competition. 19, leadership. Now again, that one is probably opinion based. Number 20, mental fortitude. being down in a series and being able to come back, or just galvanizing the troops, that kind of thing. I mean, part of that's leadership too, but just having the mental fortitude, not getting down on yourself, not just giving up, and you're just defeated. You can just see it, And number 21, how often you made the playoffs. One player that comes to mind that I know was kind of hurt was Steph Curry. He missed the playoffs, I think, 4 times out of 13 possible runs. All right. Now, one thing that's important to note is I did not distinguish between eras, meaning that a player from the 60s or the 70s, I didn't look at them compared to how they did in player 2020, how they did in their era, what was going on in that era, based on the rules, based on what other players were doing. How well did you do in your era? You're not going to be able to compare a player's stats to from the 2020s to the 1950s. It's just not going to translate. So I didn't even try. So that's something no head-to-head statistics. So anyway, without further ado, let me say I did have to change some things at the end because I brought in a few more criteria. Some guys, some notable players who didn't make the top 25 was Dwayne Wade did not make the top 25. Charles Barkley did not make the top 25, which I was very surprised on. And some of these guys, you're probably going to be surprised at the rankings of them, and I was too. Like I said, I had small say-so in it, but not a huge one. But anyway, let's see how far I can get into it on this video. Number 25, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, obviously, he's, maybe a little more than halfway through his career. He had 2 MVPs, 1 Finals MVP, 1 championship, also a Defensive Player of the Year, joining a very select group of people to do that. That basically got him in over Wade and Barkley, was that Defensive Player of the Year. He's had 4 first-team all-defenses, but he was upset in 2019 and 2020 when he was the number 1 seed. Those hurt him. But based on the team that he's had during the years and everything like that, that's where he went. He went number 25. His 10-year peak, it wasn't great, but all the other stuff he did really well in. And like I said, he's already ahead of Barkley and Dwayne Wade, which I was surprised. And the other guy is a modern player too, number 24, Nikola Jokic. He's got 3 MVPs that puts him in very select company, the 1 Finals MVP with the 1 MVP. The thing that really helped him was the fact that he's never had really a teammate be All-NBA or an All-Star, or nothing like that. That really helped him. He got upset twice with home court advantage. His defense was just average, even though he was second in defensive win shares this past season. I mean, come on, it's a laughing joke. No, he's not the second best defender in the NBA. I mean, that is crazy. He missed the playoffs his first 3 years. That hurt him as well. I mean, he had a very immaculate resume, but then when you start looking at the negative, it brought it down a bit. He had 1 legitimate shot at a championship, and he won it. Giannis had 3, I forgot to mention, had 3 legitimate shots at championship and won 1 of them. Number 23, Elgin Baylor. Now, clearly, he's the best player in NBA history to never win an MVP, never win a championship, and never lead the league in any category. His career, 27.4 points, 13.5 rebounds, puts him in very select company. Of everybody on this list, and maybe of all the top 75 players, or most of them, there's only 4 players on this list with 25 points and 10 rebounds or more for their career. So that's impressive right there. Elgin Baylor won 7 consecutive first-team All-NBAs. 1960 to 1963, he actually outscored Wilt in the playoffs. Elgin Baylor was a phenomenal player. He got really high scores on his stats. The 0 for 6, though, on championship opportunities, that hurt him. No doubt about that. But, yeah, Elgin Baylor, I feel like he'll probably be passed up by Giannis and Jokic, probably in the coming years, no doubt about it. Number 22, David Robinson, which I was surprised that, he was 22. I had him out of the top 25 until I added in a couple other things. He won 1 MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year, a scoring title, a rebound title, a block title, Rookie of the Year, 5 times 55 or more wins with not that great of a supporting cast, at least in the 90 through 97, whatever. And he did miss playoffs in 1 year, so he did get some points taken away for durability. 4 legitimate shots at a championship. He won 2 of them. I do realize he was not the best player when he won those. It was Tim Duncan. He had enough of a peak, a 10-year peak. David Robinson, part of the Dream Team. That's where he ranked, number 22 on my list. I thought Robinson was out of that. I would even have him as a top 25 player. I thought he was marginal. 22, which kind of high. Number 21, Bob Pettit. Now, I was going to put Kuzi in there, but then, like I said, I went and looked at some things again, and Bob Pettit actually was ahead of Kuzi. Kuzi was another one that was close, but just didn't make it. I think he was going to be like 27 or 28, just not quite making the cut. I was rooting for him, actually, but didn't happen. Bob Pettit, 8 times was top 4 in MVP. That's pretty powerful. He won 2 MVPs, the only team to beat Boston in a 10-year period. 1957 to 1966, Boston lost 1 series, and Bob Pettit was the best player on the team that did that. That scored a lot of points right there. I realized Bill Russell missed half the series, but still, the only one to do that. He got 2 scoring titles, 1 rebound title. He was first team All-NBA in 10 of his 11 seasons. I mean, he had almost an immaculate resume, a great 10-year peak. He just didn't win quite enough. He had 5 shots at winning a title and won 1. So that kind of hurt him right there. But because of all the other things he had, that's why he was ahead of, Elgin Baylor and David Robinson. Number 20, Kevin Durant. 1 MVP, 4 scoring titles, the 2 finals MVPs, the 2 championships. He was so-so on defense. He never made an all-defense. I think he made a top 10 in all defense player of the year once. Now, Kevin Durant, he obviously he's one of the best offensive players, certainly in the last, 40, 50 years. No question. Great player. Now, he has a problem with winning. Well, he won 2 out of 4 legit shots at it. Didn't count 2019 because he wasn't there. He played one part of 1 game. He was injured. Didn't count it. He's got a lot of positive things going for him, at least on paper. But the negatives are the fact that he did jump to Golden State to a team that was already really good. That ended up hurting Durant. It did. So anyway, that's probably it for this video. I needed to explain my criteria and everything, and that gave you 20 through 25. I will bring you 11 through 19. I just finished that up, hopefully later today. Again, I know it's all subjective and all that, but I used a system, and this is what it led me to. I just told you all the criteria I used, and only a couple were opinion-based, and it is what it is. So anyway, that's it, and thanks for watching.